Welcome to Breaking Ranks, We Can't Be Silenced. This is a space for voices that were ignored, minimized, or buried under rank and reputation. Here, we speak truth, we reclaim power, and we remind each other that we are not alone. Before we begin, I want to note that today's conversation may include discussions of abuse, assault, and other intense and hard topics. Please take care of yourself while listening. Pause if you need to. Your safety comes first. Today, I'm honored to be joined by Brittany. Brittany has chosen to share their experience, not to relive pain, but to reclaim their voice. You don't owe us anything today. Share only what feels right for you. Is there anything that you want listeners to know about you before we begin?
Hi, everybody. Yes, I would like everybody to know that I am just human, and I'm probably going to cry a lot, and it's going to be a roller coaster, but being very open and vulnerable takes a lot. So I just want people to know, to have grace during this podcast, and also, like you had stated, just definitely take care of yourself, and when hard topics are spoken about, definitely take that second to breathe.
Yes, most definitely. Your mental health, and all of you listeners, your mental health is just as important as well. So we want to make sure that if you need that break to just pause, we will be here when you come back. To start us off, if you want to go into a little bit about how you were before everything changed, what your life looked like before everything, I guess, took a turn.
Yeah, I was definitely a rascal of a teenager. Definitely rebellious. Very just loud, outspoken. I definitely lived on the edge back then. I just had a spirit about me that was just like, hey, you live only once, right? So let's go. So definitely way different than I am now.
Absolutely. Something traumatic can 100% change you as a person. I hate how accurate when people say that things that happen to you in life change you. I hate how accurate it is, because it 100% does. It doesn't matter how big or small. Everything changes you. When you feel ready, if you would like to walk us through what began to shift for you, and then we can just continue your story from there.
Yeah, I would say the biggest shift was right before we went to our first duty station. He had ran over my foot when I was pregnant with our second daughter. And from there, just truly went downhill.
Ran over your foot. What? I still can't I still can't.
Crazy, right?
I don't understand how somebody could just be like, let me just run over your foot. Who thinks of something like that? That's crazy work.
Crazy. And not only that, but like I said, we were pregnant, and it just, I remember, saying it to the special victims lawyer, and they just looked at me like, wait, what? Like you said, who thinks about that?
Yeah, it's one thing to, I don't even know, there's nothing to compare that to, because it's running over a foot. Why would you even think to do that? Especially your pregnant wife. That's the mother of your children.
100%. I think us normal folks have that question, but narcissistic people, they do not. They truly, I promise you, truly don't even process it. It's well, why were you in the way? You're just like, what? How did you get that? So yeah, 100%. It's so weird.
Do you remember your feeling in that moment?
Yeah. Oof. I would really say the feeling that I had was disappointment and also like scared because I was only 18. So like I think I was just about to be 18 or something like that because I graduated at our first duty station. Um, but it was like, did he just do that? Like the person I love, right? And what came after as well, like you're just like, do I say something? Do I like you don't know because you're like, I'm stuck. Like I don't know what to do. So you feel panicky and you also like it's so weird. It's like this mixture of emotions of I love this person, they just hurt me. And they say they're sorry, and you're like, "Oh, okay. Well, was it a mistake?" Like, I mean, you can't because you have to take a whole car and put it on somebody's foot, but whatever. So it's just like those things, like it was so weird. It felt really odd because like now I still have those mixed emotions. So it's just a weird thing.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know how I would feel if somebody I loved did that. Um, and then what happened after that?
Yeah. So there was a lot that happened after. Um, but when we got to our first duty station, obviously I showed up in a boot, like a cast and stuff, and crutches. So the sponsor was like, "What the heck?" Um, but after that, like I said, we were pregnant with our daughter, or our second daughter, and he had pushed me down the stairs when I was pregnant. Um, Gosh, he had choked me and like slammed me on the ground. Again, I was pregnant. Um, it got deep. At Eielson Air Force Base, it got really, really deep. Um, the abuse was just really, really bad, and I got really sick. So I couldn't like walk or talk or do anything like that really. So like he was very, very bad. But it got really, really bad. And I remember we were driving and like it's Alaska, it's dead in the winter. Mind you, it's like winter all the time. And he had said something really nasty and I had said something snarky back, obviously, and he had like got me so good on my face. He had socked me like really good. And mind you, we're driving. We have our daughter in the car, and I was pregnant. And I thought we were gonna die that night, honestly. And I tried to like hit back. I think like to like protect myself, my face, and stuff like that, and my baby. So it was just weird. So I also wasn't thinking either, and it was just it was so terrible, girl. Hmm.
That's insane. I want to say speechless because I'm kind of speechless. I remember when we were talking prior to recording, you were talking about brain injury and how he handcuffed you. Do you want to go into detail about that?
Yeah. So he actually he broke my C1. Because he was like, I had brain surgery. I had I have Chiari malformation, right? And so, that's a little different. It's like, is your cerebellum tonsils going into your spine? So they just like did a graft. That was fine. Cool. And I came back. Of course, we're arguing because like he called me another woman's name. But again, I just had brain surgery. Okay. I was in the neck brace too. and he had handcuffed me. So, like, don't get me wrong, like, I was, like, yelling and calling him out his name and stuff like that, and I was like, why would you call me somebody else's name? Like, that's wild. And then he got really nasty and stuff and handcuffed me. And when I say that, like, I was like, oh my God. And he was looking around because he was like, I don't have a key. And it was my father-in-law's handcuffs. Like, they were real handcuffs. Like, he was a Marine. I believe he was the MP for the Marines as well. And then he worked for corrections, right? So they were his real handcuffs. And literally, like, handcuffed me, no key. So the MPs had to unhandcuff me, right? And I took the rep for it. I was like, oh yeah, no, it was me. I'm the aggressor. They're just looking at me like, girl, what? And they knew the truth. Could you imagine showing up and the girl that just had brain surgery, her wound is, fresh. She had a neck brace on and she's handcuffed? Girl. So they were just like, they're like, okay, Brittany, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, it was me. I'm the aggressor. Like, I just got upset. He called me another woman's name. And they were just shaking their head because, they can't do much after, you're telling them something, right? Again, they kept me in the house. And they kept him in the house. And he tore me up that night. Tore me up. And I was like, okay. So I'm like, let me stay quiet. But he kept re-breaking my C1 he would strangle me. And one of my surgeons noticed, he was like, she was stable like 4 days ago. And now she had to be medevac to me. Like, patient denies abuse, but I suspect abuse is going on. Yeah, it was rough.
That's insane. Did you, at that point, is that when you, did you report what was going on, or was that later on?
Yeah, no, I didn't report immediately because he would always say, I have too much to lose, if I don't have anything, then I can't take care of the kids and you. It sucks, but that, if you're a military spouse, you understand, like, and if you're young too, you're like, this is all I got.
So basically he was like gaslighting in a way, trying to get you to not tell people.
Yeah, and then he would play the victim because I would take the rep for it. Like, with the MPs, like, one of his counselors thinks that I'm abusive, and his current therapist thinks so as well. Thinks that I'm abusive because he always says I was never an aggressor, and I just agree with him all the time, just because because no matter what we say, it's not going to change his thoughts, right? So they definitely, like, the gaslighting was real. I didn't know at that time, obviously, it was called gaslighting. And definitely, like, insurance, he would definitely use the insurance a lot because I needed the insurance at that time.
That is absolutely insane. What happened after that? Like, that's crazy. Was there a certain point that you knew that you had to speak up? Like, you were like, I can't do this anymore. Like, this has to stop.
Yeah. I would say that in Japan, we are in Okinawa. And he would waterboard me. And I seen what he was saying to his other friends too, that he was stationed in Korea with. Like, he would say, like, that I'm abusing him, all these things. He says I cheated, all these things, crazy stuff, right? And in the same breath, he would say, I carried you, I fed you. So it can't be both. You can't carry me up and down the stairs because I can't walk or talk or anything like that, and I can't use the bathroom by myself, but I abused you. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm like, you can't do that. And I had, informed him, like, you shouldn't be telling people my business, like, about me being sick, because that is HIPAA. And he had waterboarded me, and I was just like, oh, this is getting bad, right? He had choked me so bad one time that I was just like, just do it. Just finish the damn job. Just finish it. And then I knew. I was like, okay. And then also my kids came forward. I didn't know that he was hurting them as well. And once they did say that, it was a no-brainer for me. And my oldest said, I'd rather be poor with you than ever go back to abuse by him. And she begged me to divorce him and take him to court-martial. She begged me. And I was like, oh, that's a turning point. Because he was hurting them really bad. And I had no idea. So crazy. So yeah, that was the biggest turning point for me. Really, like, where I'm like, okay, I gotta get out. You know what I mean? I have to get out.
100%. Like, that's how I'm. Like, I'll take so much crap, but the minute you lay a hand on my kids is the minute it's game over. Like, I'm coming for you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't play. That's one of those things where it's like, anybody touches my kids or, like, does anything that could harm them, and I'm just like, you on my list, homie. You on my list.
Exactly. You're like so serious. Like, you're just like, okay, listen. Like, I even told that to the main prosecutor in the United States Air Force. I said, you can do, like, I don't care what he does to me, but I am a whole different person when it comes to my children. Like, I will buckle under pressure when I'm facing him myself, but when it's for my children, absolutely not. Like, there were things, because he would say, well, divorce me, blah, 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 blah. And he did not know that the minute that I found out that it was the kids too, there was no turning back for me. I said, absolutely not. You're not going to sit here. No, don't get me wrong, everybody. The people that are now his friends or whatever, they don't know me and the kids. So they really don't know what he has done. His mistress, yeah, she knows. Well, she doesn't know all of it, obviously, because she wasn't there even at his trials. But, like, they have no idea. And I was like, I will go into court debt to make sure that I protect my children. And his lawyers quit in the middle of trial. That was wild.
Did they quit because they were like, oh, no, he's cooked. Like, we can't help him? Or is it because they were like, oh, no, he's going to get different lawyers? Or how did that go down? And what were your thoughts?
Yeah, so the military lawyers stayed on. Honestly, his military lawyers represent him on a couple of cases. I said, dang. I said, not you having a revolving door. Like, that's wild. But the civilian...
Not the revolving door.
I'm just saying, because I read, because, for OSI and all that stuff, like, they give you the whole transcripts and everything from the beginning to the end of, like, everybody's statements. Mind you, nobody had his back. Okay? Like, nobody. Okay? His family didn't come through. Nothing, girl. Like, anybody that knew us as a family and knew what the kids went through and everything like that, everybody's like, no, like, he was not what he says. Now, people try to lie, before they found out, and then they dropped their statements and stuff like that. It's crazy. But his civilian lawyers, mind you, he paid them buku bucks, okay? And his civilian lawyer, promise you, it was like 1 or 2 weeks before trial, and they said, withdrawal. I said, oh, wait a minute. No, because he kept saying, I'm not in court martial, I'm not this, I'm this and this and that. And I'm like, baby, it's public record. You can just go look it up. And so my lawyer sent it over, and we're like, nah, baby, he in court martial, honey bunnies. Good luck. And then he just kept lying and lying, and I'm like, I think at a certain point, lawyers are allowed to withdraw if they feel like they can't properly represent them. It's something.
Yeah, like if their client is lying, and because there's certain rules that as an attorney they'll set, and so like at some point if their client is lying and not being truthful, they're like, they can leave. They can terminate the contract between them and their client, especially because, like I said, if their client is lying, then who's to say he's not going to get on the stand and lie? Who's to say that he's not going to lie about other things? And at that point, they just don't know what to believe from their client. So it's like, I would have left them do.
Yes, exactly. And like, mind you, when I say that my attorney was very, very transparent, I remember saying something to her, and she said, I can't represent that. So if that's something that you want to do, I can't do that. And I was like, dang. Mind you, it's because I just want to walk away. Like, I didn't want nothing. I was like, forget this. I just want out. I don't want to do this no more. I just want to walk away with zero. She said, absolutely not. I was like, oh, okay. And I respect it. And like, listen, he did not like her because, first of all, she was a woman. Let's start there. And she was serious. Like, she didn't play no games. And she said, give me everything that you have, and I need you to be truthful for us. Like, that way she's not blindsided, right? And that's where I think we differ, me and him, is that I was very honest. I was like, yeah, I don't have much money at all. I don't have this. I'm still in school. But I'm here for these kids. I make it work, like X, Y, and Z. I'm not a perfect parent. I failed at a lot of things, but I have not abused them. And I've emotionally made sure that they are stable with their therapist and stuff like that. And she was like, okay. I was like, and I was not a great wife. I could have done my job better, I guess you would say, but I was getting beat. So I don't know if that anybody, and cheated on. So I was like, I don't know if anybody really would be a great wife with all that. Like, I don't know, but I'm just saying. And I wasn't happy, So yeah, it was it was crazy. Lawyers they have some crazy rules, I'll tell you that, because I asked them, I was like, so how do you defend a guilty person? And they said that they have to, but there's certain things that they can withdraw from, but there has to be certain things though, because they're entitled to representation.
Yeah, no, that's definitely, I still to this day am like, how does somebody represent somebody that they know is guilty? Because it's just like, as somebody who went through schooling to be a paralegal who wants to go to law school, I'm just like, I don't know if I could ever do that. I've watched shows where I've seen people do it, and I'm just like, I don't know if I could do that. Like, some crimes, yes, but others, I'd be like, I can't do that. So that's like, I would never. Kudos to those lawyers, because I could not sit in there and be like, yeah, this person did not do that, knowing that they did that. Like, I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, when we sat down with his ADC, like his Airman Defense Counsel, right before trial, all I wanted was him to apologize. That's it. I was like, I just want you to apologize. He's literally, his ego cannot, do it. His ego was like, nope. I was like, okay, then I'll go through trial then. I just wanted him to apologize and mean it. And I was like, not in front of everybody for a show. Not all that extra bull. I was like, I want you to genuinely apologize for hurting me and my children. Like, our children. And his ADC was like, well, that he's not going to do that, blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine. And now I was crying the whole time, don't get me wrong. And I said, even if he gets a not guilty verdict, you all know he did it. That's okay. I can live with myself, but could you live with yours?
Right, exactly. That's crazy. And it's not like, I don't know, it's not like he could have just apologized and been like, okay, this is done. Like, just don't talk to me anymore. Just like, I don't want to deal with it. But like, yes, that pain that he caused is still there. But at this point, he has to answer for his actions, and that's all you wanted. Like, acknowledge that you did wrong instead of sitting here like, oh, I did nothing wrong. No, you did.
He still says that now. He tells everybody, oh, well, courts are rigged, X, Y, and Z, blah, blah. I was like, your airman that you sexually assaulted in Japan. Now, don't get me wrong. They had, from what it looks like, they had an affair for a while. But then she said no. She didn't want to continue or anything like that, right? She got almost 100% disability just off my ex-husband.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so you got victims, honey. And she's not the only one.
Right, and like you said, he has this revolving door. Like, you know he's done this to other people. Yeah. And it's like, at what point is he going to be held accountable from the military standpoint? Like, you know, it's like, how many people does somebody have to hurt for them to do something?
And mind you, I don't remember what his discharge was. But he still walked away basically scot-free, because technically the jury said that they couldn't convict him on domestic violence, even though they said they know he did it, but they don't know if it was in the statutes of limitations.
Right.
And I was like, so you literally know that this man, and mind you, people don't know in court-martial and stuff, well, and I guess and civilian court too, but court-martial, the jury's pick, like, if Andre, or if he says, I want the jury to do the verdict and blah blah blah, right, then the jury does. But if he said the judge, I think the judge was gonna put him under, if you want my honest opinion, but because the judge was granting the video being admissible and stuff like that. So I'm like, yeah, I was like, he knows. But the jury is able to pick his sentence as well. And the reason why they went as, I guess, like, where they got him out is because they knocked him down like 3 ranks and then 45 days. And I'm just like, okay, because after a certain point you had like higher tenure. And the jury members were like, we asked, so like, okay, what? Like, what? You hear him on recording admitting to it. Everybody knows that it's in the statute of limitations. Like, what? It's so ridiculous. And believe it or not, some of those jury members, they have seen me out and about, and they have apologized. Because I was like, oh yeah, no, because right after court-martial and after his sentence and stuff, he claims that it's not him, but it's him or his mistress sending me death threats from Okinawa.
That's insane. Two questions that I do have is, what do you wish people understood about reporting or even not reporting in environments like this? And then, like, where are you now emotionally, like mentally, physically, compared to it in that moment?
Yeah, those are really great questions. If reporting is very tricky, and I say that really, really, I don't even know like how to say it, because it's like, if you don't know, if you've never been through it, you're gonna be like, okay, whatever, I'm reporting, right? But here's the thing that gets tricky. If you're on the military base, jurisdiction matters. So we ran into that as well, just FYI. And different states have different rules. And since ours was like multiple states in different countries, right? With abuse, like we had to really like navigate through that. So reporting is very, very important, but you also have to be prepared for wherever you report, meaning state, which location, and also having a safety plan in place when you report. I don't think anybody should hold off reporting. I don't. Because you run into my situation of statute of limitations, and usually abuse victims don't go forward the first time. And that's unfortunate, and that's just really what it is, because you just don't know. But if you do report, like I said, the safety plan, and you really do have to understand where you're reporting. That's going to be a big factor in it. And if you don't have a village, make sure that you do have a village afterwards, though. Because it's very easy to fall into going back into that abuse cycle. Because you're so used to being isolated, and broke it down, that you're just like, oh, I just gotta go back because it'll be easier. Just having that village around you. And when I say about safety after you report too, is the abuse usually doesn't get lighter. It actually is probably the most scariest time is when you actually decide to leave and report. And that's what I mean by like truly looking for a village, and really, really digging deep on when you leave. Like, it's very, very important. I know it sounds really bad, but it's something that like I did not know. And people are going to turn on you. So you really have to make sure your village is strong. And where am I at now? I'm still in it a little bit. But I will say that it's so amazing when you are alone and you don't have to worry about somebody coming into your house and if their dinner is not cooked right, if their house isn't clean perfectly, you don't have to worry about getting your tail beat up. You can just be like, okay, well, I'll get to that tomorrow. And the peace that you have in your own bed, like you can actually go to sleep and not try to figure out if you're gonna get choked that night. Do you know? So it's like you get to a place like, wow, I enjoy the peace and quiet. Okay. And that you start getting out of that abuse fog is what I call it. And start seeing that person for who they really are. And then you watch them do it to other people and you just hurt for them. So, yeah. That's what I would say, honestly, is just like having a good village. Not everybody has it, so but once you're working through getting that fog, it's really important to have that village.
Absolutely. That is really good advice, and I definitely agree on the village. Having a village, even not in those situations as a parent, it's important, but even more so when you have, like yours where you need that village even more, just for the support, if anything.
No, 100%. Like, most people feel alone, and because you're isolated all the time, right? So, and then if they're perfect people on the outside to everybody else, people are like, they're not going to believe you. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. If someone that's listening right now is in a similar place that you were, what would you want them to hear?
I would definitely want them to hear that right now it seems really impossible, and that you don't know if you can breathe, you don't know if you can take those steps. You don't know anything. You don't know what's going to come next. But I promise you, like, once you start taking those steps, it's like the 500 pounds on your chest starts to move away. You start to be like, oh, I can smile again. Okay. And you start to realize that, like, you can enjoy the fresh air. It gets better. And once you get to a certain spot, and of course being in therapy as well, it's like something that you're never going to want to give up ever again. You're going to be so protective over your peace and your mental health and everything else that comes with it. Like, it's just so different, and you move differently. But I would just also say, like, don't also be so closed off from people who are trying to love and respect you, because that could be a person that was sent from above to, like, help be your village. So don't also be so closed off from allowing other people to love you.
Yeah, that's definitely 100% true. Being closed off is something that I feel like a lot of victims struggle with. And it's rough because it makes you feel even more isolated than you already are feeling. And it's just, it makes it so much harder on you than it needs to be.
100%. 100%. And, like, if anybody knows, like I had to truly understand that not everybody's against me, and not everybody wants to hurt me physically. And that was hard for me, to be honest with you. And when his other victims came to me, at first I was always blaming them. Then I had to really, like, take a look inside. I'm like, girl, wait a minute, no, they were victims just as much as you were, right? And so I became their village, and it was hard for me because, like, my ex-husband at that time was my husband, hurt these people, and they had nowhere to go. And so I was their village, and it was hard for me at first, I cannot lie to you, but now it's something that I understand that no matter what, you need a village, because you have no idea. And since I was a person that knew who this person was that hurt them, it was easier to talk to, talk to me. But yeah, it's very important.
Absolutely. Is there anything else that you would want to share before we go through some closing and as we wrap up this episode?
Yeah, I think that it's important that when you're going through this process, no matter if it's military, the military justice system, or civilian, that there are resources for other victims. Like, it's not strictly just in the military, but there's other resources, depending on the state too, which I always help other people for that. And that you may not get your justice, but there's always a day that person is going to have to face what they've done. It may not be how we want at that time, or even later, you never know. But one day they will have to answer for it. And if there's any resources that they need, I definitely know a lot, and I do a lot of research for other victims in different countries and states, for the military. So I'm more than willing to help them out. But don't give up either. The court-martial process is meant to break the victims. I'm sorry, but it is, because it's such a grueling, long process, and it's like the victims are on the stand more than the perpetrator. Like, So it's like, if you're really gonna go through it all the way, understand that it's gonna break you, it's gonna make you as well, and it's gonna show you, okay, what are you capable of? And if you don't follow through with it, that's okay. Just understand that one day they will have to answer for it.
Exactly. And I agree. That process is so long, so grueling. And that's if they even take it up there. Because I know some people, including myself, where they wouldn't even take it to a court martial. So if you make it there, push through. It will be so hard, but you regret nothing when it comes to the end. Because even if you don't get justice there, like Brittany said, you will get it one day.
Yeah.
And that's why I have this podcast as well, as a safe place for you to have your voice. Because if you didn't get justice there, you can come and share your story, and so many people will hear it, and you can feel free again. Because I'm not going to lie, I don't know about Brittany, but when I put it out there, it made me feel a lot more free to be able to let people know. I don't know if Brittany feels the same, but that's how I felt.
Yeah, 100%. I think that that process definitely tore me up a lot. I cannot lie to you. And you may not get your justice. I'm telling you. My person admitted to everything on recording, and it was admissible, and they heard it. And they still gave him 45 days, and not even just for domestic violence. It was protection order violation, and stuff like that. And he admitted to doing everything. So when I tell you that you may have a clear cut, like, yep, bada boom, bada bing case, it can end up where they don't. But that's where one day again they will have to answer some way, somehow. You just never know, and it's not your place. The biggest thing that the prosecutor told me and my children was that you may not get a guilty verdict, you may not get this, you may not get that, but the one thing that you do get is standing up, and he has to hear every single thing that he has ever done to you and those kids. And no one is, and everybody's listening. They see who he really is, and that's the worst thing, is that he's exposed. That's the worst part for a narcissist.
Absolutely.
I was like, oh wow. I was like, I didn't think about that. She's like, so that's really his punishment. I didn't think about it that way, but
especially because you got to think, like, all his peers are going to know who he really is. Like, that's what you have to, like, remember. You're going to hit where it hurts. And if they don't care about that, then they're worse of a monster than I even want to admit to knowing. So
yeah, because like, court martial takes years. It took us
and there's no way to hide it from your peers. There isn't, because you have to go to those. You have to meet every single meeting. So they're going to start asking questions.
Oh, absolutely. And then when he went from a certain rank, because he was E78, and then all the way down to E4.
Yep, which will open up even more questions.
And then they started noticing that he was going to court martial, because once he was convicted, and they saw his rank, because while he was out processing after 45 days, because, they kicked him out. But you just sit there and you're like, good luck. Like, no. It's yeah, just justice may not say that you want, but one day they will have to answer.
Absolutely. Well, if this episode brought up anything difficult for you, just remember you're not alone. There's resources and support options, and there's so many resources out there for you that if you need help finding them, you can reach out, and I will find any resource that I can find, and we will get them to you. I want to thank you, Brittany, for your courage and your honesty, most importantly, your voice. Sharing your story matters more than you know. To our listeners, this is Breaking Ranks. We can't be silenced. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with someone who needs to know that they're not alone as well.